Hey guys, back again doing another weekend project. Today I'm going to show you how easy, simple, and fixable it is to replace your coolant sensor on this 2008 Mercury Mariner. Pretty simple job, guys. Now the reason why we're changing that coolant temperature sensor, this vehicle customer brought it in. I went and go ahead and put the scanner. I got one of many codes, but this is one of the main codes that we're going to go ahead and just continue to diagnose this vehicle. Customer did state that whenever she stops on a stop sign or maybe a stoplight, the vehicle does get a little bit overheated, and the temperature gauge inside will reflect that. One of the main components, sometimes the coolant temperature sensor, its main purpose is to send and read the temperature of the engine back to the computer, and when that's not reading or communicating, that could be an issue. There's also other issues as well that we're going to check, like the thermostat, if that needs to be replaced, but for now I'm going to go based on what the computer's telling me. So it's pretty simple job, guys. This is the part number I'll be showing you guys. This is from my local auto zones parts store, and basically this is what the coolant temperature sensor looks like. There you go, guys. Pretty simple forward job, and I'm going to show you where that sensor is. If you take a look at it, it's going to be right here, this piece right there. And if you look at it standing from my perspective, this is going to be the driver's side of the vehicle, and it's basically held down like this. So it's basically a twist off, counter twist it off, pull it out, and then once you install the new one, put it back and then twist it back in, and that should go ahead and replace that sensor. This is pretty simple job, guys. Let me go ahead and show you guys step by step. That way you guys could do this at your own pace. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, guys, so there's going to be a couple steps we have to follow so we can do this job successful. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and disconnect the negative terminal on this battery. And this is a 8mm nut that we're just loosening it up. And we're just going to go ahead and just pry this out. Just get it out of the way there. All right, so next step, we're going to go ahead and drain the coolant. For this type of vehicle, we have to go down at the bottom, and I'm also using a special tool. This is what it looks like. You could get this at Amazon for about 12-15 bucks, and it's going to have these this little lever here that we're going to go ahead and put underneath. I'm going to show you right now, and you can squeeze this, and that's going to go ahead and compress this little spring, and that's going to allow us to remove the lower radiator hose, which is that one right. Let me see if I can show you guys. That's going to be the radiator hose that we're going to go ahead and remove. And you could do this from the top, or you could do it from the bottom, but I find it way easier to go from the bottom and remove that radiator hose, so that way we can drain the coolant from the system. The reason why we're draining it is because when we do remove that coolant temperature sensor, we will get some coolant gushing out. And make sure you do this job when the vehicle is cool, or just completely not hot at all. And if you drove it, just make sure you wait a couple hours before you do this job, just because you're gonna get burned if you do go ahead and remove the coolant while the vehicle is on normal operating temperatures. Okay, so this car has been sitting here for the past 3 hours, so I think it's pretty safe to do and remove that coolant out of the system. So let's go and do that real quick, and then we'll show you how that's done. All right, so for this vehicle, we're gonna go ahead and underneath the vehicle, unfortunately this model doesn't have a petcock, where some models do, where you could just easily drain it. by removing that, twisting that petcock from the radiator. Again, this one is pretty easy. You see this little clamp here? We're just going to go ahead and compress this with that special tool, and then I'm going to pull this lower radiator hose out, and I'm using a catch pan that's right next to me so I can capture all that coolant. Make sure that if you have some little creatures, dogs or cats nearby, make sure they don't drink none of this, because they can go to heaven. All right, so we're going to remove that. Let me go to show you how that special tool is going to work. Again, it's going to make your job a lot easier. All you do is just put this from the top, like so. You see how it's kind of binding that, and then have someone, or right now I'm going to try to do it with my other hand, squeeze this, so that way it can compress that clamp. So let me go and do that real quick, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second. All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and put that little special tool there, and then I'm going to squeeze it with my hand right there, and this is what it looks like. See that? And then I'm going to go ahead and clip it here, and then that's going to allow me to remove that clamp. Or you don't have to remove it, just set it aside or push it downward, so that way we can take that radiator hose. So let me go ahead and squeeze it, and then we can go to the next step. Okay, so now that I've have that special tool locked in, ready to go, I'm just gonna go ahead and pull this towards me. And again, have your catch pan, because as soon as I remove this hose, a lot of the coolant's gonna gush out. Okay, so let me go and do that real quick. See if I can give you guys an idea what that looks like. There we go. That just came gushing out, and this is what the little tool looks like holding this clamp. So we're gonna go ahead and let this, and I'm gonna go ahead and just also forgot to remove the reservoir cap to allow that coolant to completely flush out. All right, so I'm gonna let this go ahead and let it drain, and then we'll come to the next step. Okay guys, so now that the radiator has been drained, keep in mind there's still going to be some coolant in the actual engine block. We just remove whatever coolant it was right now in the system in the radiator, but you don't have to remove the whole complete coolant from the engine block, just from the radiator. So the next step, we're going to go ahead and disconnect the harness that's connecting to the coolant temperature sensor, just for I guess more content privilege. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this little cap here, just that way you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. You don't have to remove this, but I just want to show you, because in case you want to go ahead and get a better idea how this looks like in action, I can give you guys more of a visual aid there. So I'm just going to remove this. This is an 8mm bolt, one here and one there. So let me just remove that really quick. And again, you don't have to remove this. I'm just doing it so that way I can kind of give you guys a little bit more of a visual, so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing here. So now that you guys have more room for us to kind of work, let me go ahead and move my lighting a little bit here. Bear with me. Hopefully I give you guys a little bit more see what I'm doing here. So this is going to be the next step. This little harness, all it is, we're just going to go ahead and push. There's like a little clip here. Just going to push it and push straight up. Like so. And I want to go ahead and also take the moment to inspect the actual wiring. Sometimes that code that we got, it could not only explain what's going on, but take a moment to kind of see what the wiring wires, make sure they're intact, make sure nothing is either burnt, or you could also check continuity or power. But this looks good, and I'll be checking also make sure it has continuity and power when we continue. But this is one thing you could also do just to make sure everything's on par and working correctly. But looks good. The next step, once you go over that, this is what the actual sensor is. Remember I told you we're gonna go ahead and twist it off. And the reason why we took some coolant out of the radiator, so that way whatever coolant is still circulating and we don't kind of make a mess. So let's go ahead and remove that real quick. And it's pretty easy. All you do is just gonna go ahead and take it off counterclockwise, like so. Like that. See that? So it was an up position like this, and all we did was just moved it like this. And you kind of see what that looks like that. And then we're just gonna push outwards, okay? Like so. And this is where the coolant that we removed from the radiator, if we didn't remove that coolant from the radiator, you would get lots of more coolant coming out of that. And this is what that looks like. Let's see if I can get you guys a close-up right there. So make sure that before you install the new coolant sensor, you compare it with the old one. Let me see if I could get the other one. Always compare your parts. Make sure they're the same size, same connections. This one has 2. This one has 2 as well. And make sure it's also the same, because some aftermarket parts could not be compatible. Everything looks good on my end. All right, so before you install this, take one last minute to clean. Get you guys close it. Clean around here. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a rag and to make sure I clean that real quick. So I'm gonna do that before we proceed. All right, so let me go ahead and make sure I clean that area really good. Sometimes gunk, see that? Could get that area very, very dirty. So again, take the time to clean that really good, like so. And also it's a good time to inspect it for any type of damage. Everything looks good. Let's see. Right there. See how it looks nice and clean now? All right. So now that we have that cleaned, we're gonna go ahead and grab our temperature sensor, and we're gonna go ahead and just do a reverse order. We're gonna tilt this like so, and when you line it up, you want to go and just push it in. You shouldn't fight it, like so. See that? It's just nicely went inside. Let's see if I can show you guys again. You just pushed it in like so. Once it sits nice and flush, we're gonna go ahead and tilt it clockwise like that. And I don't know if you guys heard that sound. Let me see if I can show you guys again. All right, so I took it off, and I'm just gonna go ahead and tilt it, and you're gonna hear a sound just click. There you go. And that's gonna go ahead and engage. It's not gonna go ahead, I mean, it's gonna wiggle, but I already made that safety seal there. And then we're gonna go ahead and install that wiring harness and wait for that click. Let's see if we can hear that click, okay? There we go. And then we're just gonna go ahead and wiggle it up just to make sure it's nice and secure. All right, so now that we have that in place, we're gonna go ahead and put that cap here that's protecting this. And then let's go to the next step, which I'm gonna go ahead and reinstall a lower radiator hose and fill this bad boy with coolant. So I'm gonna do that real quick. Okay, so we're gonna go install that radiator hose back. Let's see if I give you guys some lighting here. There we go. And all we're doing, which is making sure we put this back into the radiator, like so. And we're just gonna go ahead and push in the hose back, like so. And then once we put it in, we're gonna go and remove this special tool and we're gonna fill the coolant reservoir. So let's go and do that real quick. Okay, so now that we have the lower radiator hooked up, we're gonna go ahead and fill the reservoir. According to the Mercury manual, the engine capacity is about 10.5 quarts of coolant. So that's about 1 gallon. It's about, if we convert that, it's about 4 quarts. So you're gonna need about 2.5 of these and half of another one, so we can fill this bad boy up. So let's go and do that real quick. Here's a little trick. See the little edge here? You actually could just put it here and open that like so. Pretty cool, huh? Instead of poking it with your finger or maybe a screwdriver, that's what this is for. So let's go ahead and I'm using this 50-50 mix, just so that way we can go ahead and get this out of the way. This is a universal extended life one. So let me go ahead and fill that up real quick, and then we'll go to the next step. So with the car off, I'm just making sure I'm filling up the reservoir. I'm going all the way on top. Once I get to that position right there, I'm gonna go ahead and look for the top radiator hose, and I'm just gonna squeeze it. I don't know if you can see while I'm squeezing it, it's sucking in that coolant into the radiator. And I'm doing this with the car off. That's what's very important. You do this job while the car is super cooled. I'm just making sure I'm just at least putting a full gallon before I start the vehicle. And this is also going to help remove any air in the system. See how it's just sucking it in. And I'm going to do this until I finish this gallon. And then at the same time, I'm going to go ahead and install my negative terminal. And then I'm going to start the vehicle. And then I'm going to continue to make sure I put enough coolant. Again, it's going to be about 2 of these and a half. So I'm going to do that real quick, and then we'll come back to the next step. All right, so now that we have this connected, we're going to go ahead and turn on the vehicle, and we're going to go ahead and continue topping that off. So let's go and do that real quick. I can see because this is dripping. So we're gonna let the system do its job. The only thing we're gonna go ahead and help it speed up the process. See how it's we're gonna go ahead and come over here. We're gonna turn on the heater all the way, and we're gonna help making sure that's once you start to feel this hot, heater is on, and we're just gonna come back, top this off. All right. So I hope this video helped you out how to change that coolant temperature sensor, and this is a good time to check if there's any leaks. As you can see, there's no leaks at all. We're hoping this is gonna fix the issue. If not, we're gonna go and make a second video on how to change the thermostat in case that needs to be a change. All right, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thumbs up, subscribe, like. Thanks for watching. Okay, guys. Quick update. I actually finished the job and I went to go test drive the vehicle. I just came back. I think I drove maybe about 8-10 miles. So I'm gonna go ahead and check for any codes. Kind of see if that code that we had is still there about the coolant sensor. If I could show you real quick, there is no check engine light currently, so I'm gonna go and just double check just to see if there's any codes. Let's see. Okay, so we got 4 codes. I think this is replace the battery. Okay, that doesn't have to do anything with what we did. Steering wheel, sensor, power supply. All right, so we actually don't have that P0117 that we had about the coolant, so that's good. Let's see what it's all about. Perform emission monitor, drive cycle. Okay, so I guess that means that we have to continue driving the vehicle for more data, but right now I just want to make sure I'm looking at the vehicle. Let me see what the temperature is, and you can tell it's still right on coolant. It's a little bit over, but hopefully while we drive it, let's see, just checking the temperature, the coolant temperature. We're at 172, so the vehicle, reading the data. I should have checked this and make sure that the coolant was reading correctly before I even did that job. But the good thing is that I don't have any of that P0711 code that we had about the coolant sensor. So hopefully that fixed the issue. Again, that was one of the main reasons why this vehicle is overheating. And I'm going to continue to drive this and continue to see, hopefully before I give the vehicle back to the customer, that way they can have peace of mind that we got that resolved. But I'm going to also recommend, we change this battery. Looks pretty old, so we'll go from there, but no P0711 like we had. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Just wanted to update you. Have a great day, guys.